Yeah, what about checking the labels, on cans, just
Oh,
being mindful of that?
course. I did a whole 3 years ago. I did a massive push on sugar and having people to
Mm,
understand sugar and eating sugar, the detriments and to the health of sugar consumption was number one, and number two is because most people didn't even know they were consuming sugar. Famous coffee places with these things have up to 25 grams of sugars in a drink. You have to watch that stuff. There's some diet foods out there. Watch how much sugar they put in there. So sure, low calorie, but high sugar. And that stuff's going to make you gain weight. Again, it's stored as glycogen. We have too much, it turns into fat, that sort of thing. Label reading is important. Sodium, like even when I work with athletes or I work in the film industry, I still read labels. Even though I've owned a store and I know what to look for, I'm a nutritionist, I used to be a buyer for Whole Foods, I still read labels because sugar and salt can get snuck into even brands you've been used to buying. So you have to watch these things. They make them taste good. That's why they put it in there. I did an analysis on somebody once and they're like, no, I don't eat sugar, because their thought process is that they don't put it in their coffee. So we did a breakdown of their day of what they ate, and they'd had over 80 grams of sugar that day.
Yeah, what kind of food? Because the fruits have sugars too, right? So how much in a day, how much sugar should we consume?
Yeah, well, sugar is, so this is where I get into the keto thing around net carbs, and that's why I prefer paleo. Paleo allows sugar. Now, sugar has a far deep-reaching meaning. So there is sugar in apples, you're right, but the sugar in the apple is offset by the fiber in the apple. So what happens is that then it's called a net carbohydrate. So you're eating a carbohydrate, a sugar, but it has the fiber in it, which slows the sugar down into your body. So you're not getting an insulin rush, you're getting a nice slow carbohydrate put into your body. And then it's utilized, and therefore it creates less of an insulin rush. So if you can imagine in the body, when you eat chocolate, candy, right, as soon as we put it in our mouth, the insulin has to come out to bring the blood sugar down in our bodies, right? We get that hyperactive, crazy, when I'm talking about children, it's the adults too. We get that. So when you have the fiber from the fruit, it slows that down. So the body doesn't go into crazy trying to fix, is the best way for me to say that. So an apple would be a net carbohydrate. Okay, let's pull up the paleo. So let's say that 30% of your carbohydrates were, so the paleo looks a little bit different, right? 30% of your calories are from protein, 40 are from fat. So it's still a high fat, which would be your olive oils and your avocados, and then 30% of carbohydrates. So that's a little bit more balanced. So the carbohydrates at that point would now be your carrots. Again, a carrot is high in sugar. A beetroot is high in sugar. But the value that you're getting in the food is super high. Again, I bring you back to that vitamin and mineral chart. Carrots are high in beta carotene. Beta carotene is good for your eyes. The fiber in that carrot slows its insulin release in the body, so the body can actually break it down, utilize it, and use that carbohydrate as energy. I mean, as you can tell, I'm already very much into whole food and eating whole foods, and eating more balanced. And I'm not saying keto's the worst thing in the world. There's certainly been, I mean, gosh, I remember as a kid, did pineapple juice for 3 days to try and it was awful. I had cankers in my mouth and things like that. So I don't like the word diet. I like the word lifestyle. If you want to call it keto lifestyle, you want to eat those carbohydrates, you need them. You asked me earlier, Jackie, about fruit. When I'm on tour with the boys and we're in the tropics, I source the best tropical fruit I can for them. Now, as a middle-aged woman in December in Vancouver, do I want her eating mangoes and, pineapple? No, I don't. She's not going to be burning those calories unless she's out, again, we're coming out of the athlete realm here. We're going into the standard American or North American diet. I don't want them to eat that. But again, I'd much rather you have mango with all the nutrients that a mango brings to you, including the fiber. So it keeps it, your body's able to break it down versus eating a Tootsie Roll. There's no fiber. It's pure sugar. It goes straight to the blood, goes straight to makes chaos in the body, and then the body's got to get rid of it. I tend to use fruit in season. So for example, when tomatoes are in season, eat tomatoes. I was just in the Okanagan, I bought a ton. I should show you guys all of my squash. It's amazing. So again, it's higher in sugar, but it's offering such nutrient value and the fiber. I use dried fruit for athletes, for sure. They need that quick energy.
Like, is it preserved, the sugar in dried fruit?
It's higher concentrated sugar, because when you dry the fruit, it brings the sugar out, and so it becomes higher concentrate. But if you imagine, some of my athletes lose up to 5 kilos in a game. So the caloric intake and the burn that they have offsets it. But I'd much rather give them dried fruit than, something that doesn't offer any other nutrient value. Don't get me on about Gatorade. I've also written tons about like that. Like, that's just basically sugar water. It's sugar water. And it's loaded with food dyes and all sorts of detrimental things to the body. So yeah, does it give you immediate energy? For sure it does. But is that the best source of immediate energy that a person can have? Absolutely not. When I was in Trinidad, I met a lovely man. Every single day I went to him, and he cut open the coconut water out of the coconuts and poured it in for me for the boys. And that was it's lower calories, so I had to boost up their calories in other areas, but that was a much better hydration replacer, electrolyte replacer, and offered many benefits to the body. So
Coconut water is really good.
Oh, it's so high in potassium. It's so good for you. Yeah, and it's low in calories. For all the dieting ladies, there you go. There's a tip.
Great. Coconut water. Yes.
Oh, and some people are like, ooh, gross, it tastes awful. I suggest putting it on ice cubes. As a nutritionist, I shouldn't tell you that, but because technically you should be consuming things that are the same temperature as your body. But I love it on ice cubes myself.
Wow.
I have a great recipe on my website if you want to check it out. It's mixed with Himalayan salt, and it is a great electrolyte replacement. It's under sports athletic foods or something in my recipes. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know, because otherwise people think of Gatorade right away to be, boost your electrolytes. Oh, wow!
If I could scream from the rafters about it, it makes me crazy, and even it makes me crazy. Gatorade makes me crazy. No, you're giving it more sugar. Sugar actually could bring on anxiety and depression. Sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine.
Wow.
So that would be another tip. Choose your sugar wisely. I'm not a purist. I love wine. I make sure the wine's organic, non-sprayed. Not always, because sometimes it's not. I was just in Coston, British Columbia, shooting this movie, and I did a few little. When I stayed a day or two after, and I did some wine tasting, and so I went to different places. But I always go to the guys who have don't add sugar. Italy and France don't add sugar to their wine, but so you've got to kind of. You guys, it's crazy. Another thing I would look at doing, circling back to the question around other things I would recommend, things that are thermogenic foods like green tea, peppers, oolong tea. I have a client who recently, she's been working with me for 2 years. She's lost 75 pounds of body weight. And
wow.
and had a baby. She's vibrant. Her skin, her elasticity, everything's coming back. So again, someone through a journey like that, we look at so many things. When she first came to me, just to get the initial onset of just actually getting used to drinking water daily, introducing vegetables, whole green vegetables every single day. Now she can't even imagine life without A, water, and or B, vegetables at all. She can't imagine a life without moving 20 minutes every single day. Her family life has improved. She's had a baby. Her coping mechanisms, you guys, it's so vast. When people change their diet, and honestly, it's such minor tweaks. That's why I struggle with. I get that people need okay, I'm on a specific name diet. I'm on a thing. I'm a vegetarian. Okay, so that's great, and I get that you want to identify with that. But just use that as a guide and a tool. I worked on set, and because of the food I was using was grass-fed and great, organic, natural, happy cows. I had a vegetarian who said, I'm going to eat this meat tonight because I know that this came from a good source. And she absolutely enjoyed it. And she's been a vegetarian for 10 years. And she said, I just really wanted to try it. And so, the label thing makes me a little crazy.
I'm trying to imagine a happy cow right now.
Try to imagine a happy cow. They wag their tails. They're mindfully fun.
So are you saying green tea is good, Sandra?
Oh, it's awesome. It has total fat burning properties. It's a thermogenic. It has a ECUG, a component in it. Green tea is so great for, I want to do a whole episode just on anti-aging because that's like my new passion. That's what I'm working toward. I'm building programs just for an anti-aging. Actually, I call it graceful aging. I want to change that. It's not anti-aging. It's graceful aging because we're all aging. So I'm using things like alpha lipoic acid. I'm using green tea, and I'm putting kits together for women. A collagen product that I love beyond. And so I'm putting some kits together. They'll be going up on my website in the next month. Yeah,
that's great.
Stay tuned on that. Yeah, and it'll come to you in a kit, and you'll get a free chart, and will come with all those things that help burn fat, maintain skin, rebuild collagen, that kind of stuff.
Wow,
all the stuff we want as we age.
Yes, and if people want to go to your website, what is it's radiantwellness.com?
Oh, okay. So my website is www.radiatewellness.ca.
.ca
for Canada. Yeah. I've got some cool recipes on there, and lots of articles I've written for different publications. I have now just hired a team, so we'll be seeing more stuff coming up on my website. I'm opening a shop. Some of my vitamins that I'm selling are on there now too. My world is on fire right now. The film industry, I'm hoping to build I'm not hoping, I've been asked to build a whole entire program for the film industry. And I've worked with government. I've presented on PTSD and dietary program for PTSD. So there's lots of things coming. Yeah, it'll be interesting. My passion right now, you guys, with my new clinic is women and weight loss. And doing it so that you're happy, healthy, gorgeous, luscious, juicy, all that stuff. And that's what I'm working. That's kind of my focus. Although I've had such great experiences for the last 7 years with the boys and things, it was time for me to kind of start putting my focus into things that were closer to my own heart, as I'm in my well into my 50s now. And I thought, I kind of have some interest around, what does it look like maintaining health and beauty as I age, and for my friends too. So
health and beauty, that's correct. Just a quick question, which I remember today. Between men and women, Sandra, are you able to actually identify how many women or how many men are interested in keto or paleo?
I find a lot of men are. Actually, I find a lot of men really interested in it because it's meat. And so guys tend to, I don't know if it's testosterone in men. I don't know what it is. They just, in general, and this is very general, this is my own experience with men. My man doesn't actually eat meat, but in general, men, I find, don't feel like they've had a meal unless it's had meat in it. So I think that's why it's appealing to them. And guys see results immediately. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of program they're on. We see them, men lose weight much faster than women do.
What is it with women that takes longer? Maybe.
Well, we store more fat, and the reason, and that historically is actually beneficial. The reason it's for childbearing. We need to have hips. We need to have breasts, and areas where we have to have, we're producing children, and then we're producing food for children. So we actually need it for that. It's a survival mechanism for women. Back in the prehistoric days, or not even that far back, to have extra meat on your bones was considered health. You were high demand because you were healthy and you were going to be able to produce. If famine came, you would survive longer because you had more fat to use to live on. Yeah. And that's kind of what I want to focus on. I want it to be less about the body. I want it to be more about how you feel. What's your mental state? How do you feel in your body? Because it's not really about, mental health is huge, especially during COVID right now. To add menopause and or perimenopause into that, you just got this whole explosion. So making it healthy and balanced and more relaxed around what we can do. And it's usually 1 or 2 tweaks. There's very few people in the world, I think now, who don't really get what healthy eating is, For women, it's usually just a little finite tweak. It's something small. I have a whole system that I use on my website. It's called the NutriBody. It's what I use with clients. It gives me a printout. So, Christine, if you were to do it, and then Jackie, you were to do it, your printouts would be different because what's going on in your body is very different than what's going on in Christine's body. And, your needs are different. Jackie, I know less about you. And Christine, I know you're an athlete. So there would be things I would look at. And again, I look at your nutraceuticals. I look at what your body needs to support yourself. And this is sort of the place I'd like people to come from. And eventually fire me because you're already trusting your own body now. I think we've just come so far away from trusting our own bodies and trusting what we need. That's my job, to get you back to that, to trust what you need, know that you're on track. Our bodies are trying to be into homeostasis 24/7. Every single time we do something, your body's trying to correct it, or it's trying to implement the story of my brother. I don't know if this is too much information, but he had a fear. He had something on his tongue and he was very, very worried, and the doctors wanted to test him for cancer. So I immediately got him onto a pretty expensive and rigorous protocol. And 4 weeks later, we went to the doctor's office, and the doctor looked at him and said, "What the heck have you done? It's gone." These are the kind of stories I see, you guys. Like, people, make minor changes. And in that case, it was a fairly big one. But, the health improves. Your body wants to be healthy all the time. Your body wants to work. It wants to work for you. It just needs to sometimes be given little tools, little tweaks to help it get there.
I like the words that Sandra is using, because nowadays, right, Christine, you're right. There's a lot of body image issues, and I'm glad you're using the word body image, mental health, loving your body, because that's the way to motivate a lot of, especially young girls, right, who go into eating disorders, or who get bullied because they're being told that they don't look good enough. So yeah, we really need to focus on trusting your body and being happy, in a happy mental state.
Well, we've come so far away from trusting our bodies because we've been fed what we're supposed to look like, what we're supposed to be like. But in my clinical practice, I can tell you, someone will come in for weight loss, but the health benefits. I've had a client who lost 35 pounds, and we got her off of mental health naturally. I didn't get her off, and it wasn't my mandate to do it. I don't interfere with their doctor or what they're seeing with their psychologist. But in the process of her dropping this weight, she went off of antidepressant medication, and her doctor helped work with her and me through it to wean her. So I've seen people coming off of depression. So they come in for weight loss, but so much more happens. It's just giving your body a platform and having someone to coach you along until I said to my clients every time, I just want to work with you until you have to fire me and you don't even need me anymore. I just want the world to start trusting themselves again, innately your own self.
Thank you very much, Sandra and Jackie. Hasn't this been wonderful?
I am just so blown away. I'm like, you have no idea how much this episode is, how much it means to me. And Sandra, Christine, thanks for bringing Sandra over. And thank you, Sandra, for taking the time. We know you're very busy, and we're so happy the film industry in BC is very active again. We can see how involved you are. And this conversation is just opening a lot of avenues for body positivity, empowerment, self-motivation, self-esteem, high morale. And these are the values I see in our discussion right now, which is very important.
Well, thanks for having me, you guys. I appreciate it, and I wish you luck with your show. And I would be happy if we want to do something again another time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and thank you so much.
Thanks,
it's been
guys.
great. Thanks for watching Open Discussions, and it was such a pleasure to talk to Sandra Millward. She's a registered holistic nutritionist, and thanks to my co-host extraordinaire, Jackie, and we'll look forward to our next episode. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Bye for now.